It looks really cute.
That's hilarious.
So he's so cute.
That I can't have my own avatar, and instead I'm just the Our Anime Podcast, which, sometimes you gotta be it. Okay.
I'm just imagining the icon talking, like her mouth's open and everything. Imagine if it was a GIF that like opened and closed.
That would be.
He'd be like
weird.
that big.
That'd be kind of cool. Reading it, everyone. Well, yeah. Yep. We're waiting for Smurf, but for everyone else who's in, we are the Our Anime Podcast, and we're back with the Promise Neverweekly, which is arguably our best title of a series. That might not actually be a series. We're just kind of like playing it by ear, talking about the episode when we want to, and it works in with the title because we're not really promising weekly anything because it's, Promise Never Weekly. Aha.
That's hilarious.
I knew it wasn't funny, but I wanted to pretend. I wanted to pretend for like a hot second.
I think it's pretty funny.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
I think it's pretty funny because it's like the perfect sequel to Violet Everweekly.
Yeah. That one's the confirmed weekly. And then Stein's bi-weekly never really worked. It like kind of did, but not really. It wasn't as catchy as Everweekly. And now we have Neverweekly. So as long as we can do a series that puns well with weekly in some way, like a definitive ever or never, then we should be pretty much fine. But yeah, so it's cool. We're going to have Smurf on, but he's running late. But we were going to have Fate, and then we replaced him with Maz after Fate got eaten by a demon.
Oh, wow. That's terrible. Rip Fate.
Hate when that happens, but sometimes you got to do it to him. But thank you for joining us. We're so glad to have you on too.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
So we didn't get your take of it. We didn't get your take of the first episode. So what did you think of like the first episode and then this episode?
First episode. I liked it. It was it was pretty good. I'm also a bit of a source. I haven't read a whole lot of the manga, but I did read the first 2 volumes as the manga was publishing weekly when it first came out. And it was really nice to see this series animated. I think they're doing a really great job with it. And there are lots of visual tricks in the first episode that was nice. Like I like the clock in the game of tag. That was cool. The jump scare at the end of the episode was fucking awesome. Along with the one this episode, which like I knew, like I actually didn't remember when it was going to happen, but then it did happen. It's like, whoa, they're really doing a great job. Like on all fronts, I think that this anime, and not even just as a good adaptation, this is just a great anime with really great animation, great voice acting, amazing soundtrack, and amazing OP and ED. Fire! It's so good, dude.
Yeah, I really like what they've done with it too. I like the opening and ending. They have grown on me. Before I was like, wasn't sure, but now I've made up my mind, and I really like them. Yeah. So I'm a huge fan. I'm glad to hear that too, because I remember you read some of it. Like I remember you talking about part of the manga, but I wasn't sure how much you read. So it's kind of cool to get the perspective of someone who's like who's not like reading over Twitter like I am. Like I've just been like obnoxiously tweeting at like Crunchyroll and stuff to like get the episode on time.
So I've been retweeting that, or I've been liking. I forget if I retweeted or not, but I liked that.
I think you did. Well, I wasn't even like, that wasn't me trying to be salty. I just like legitimately wanted to know when it was on. But like I'm obviously in too deep. Like I'm tweeting at Crunchyroll to get the episode up. Like I'm in too deep. So I kind of like hearing what other people think, especially like non-source reader or non-source readers or people who like have read some of it but not all of it.
They aren't like super invested in it like we are.
Yeah. So I always think that's cool. I think they had some interesting stuff going on because they actually like changed up a decent amount in this episode, because I actually went back and read some of the stuff to see like, oh, what are they going to cover? And they changed some stuff up, but I think it kind of works out really well, because I think this episode flowed really well. Just as a good, like, a nice reminder of like the crazy shit that went down in the first episode. Then it's like, okay, what do we do with the second, kind of transitioning into like, where's the momentum going with the series? And I think they did a good job transitioning with that. Jack, you're in deep like I am. What did you think?
I liked it a lot. There was a lot of visual stuff that you get with anime that you just can't really with manga, especially since a lot of manga artists are overworked, so you can't really, because there was just a lot of stuff with like small detail that you like that had to be done by like a full team of animators like working on stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so it's definitely different than the manga, and it's good. Like, there's lots of good things with the visuals. I still really like the manga, and the manga still has some moments where I'm like, yeah, I kind of liked how that felt in the manga. Like, with the jump scare in the episode.
Yeah.
It was like, you turn the page, and all of a sudden it's just, like, still. It was like, especially since you can kind of, like, stay on that page and just, like, look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like it had a different impact.
It's interesting. So. Yeah, I was thinking about that, because that was probably, I don't know if this is a bold claim or not, but I would say that one shot of, I think everyone has seen this manga page at some point, and if not, they probably have now. It's the one of like, it's just Mama like in Emma's face as Emma's looking at that spot on the wall. Like, I think that it might be the most iconic shot from the entire series. And I think like that was going to be interesting to see how they handled it. But what was interesting was like, it was not as intense initially, but it kind of built up more than the manga page, which I think is what you're saying, where it's like the advantages of animation versus manga, where they kind of have to come on really strong with manga because they have like 19 pages to tell a chapter, whereas in this we had like 23 minutes of kind of build up to that. So it was kind of like it got more intense as the scene went on, but it did lack that initial punch that the manga had. So I feel like that's almost going to be kind of indicative of the entire series. Like, they might have a lot more like build-up scenes, but not as many like jump scares.
Yeah, and like thinking about it back, the jump scare in the first episode, that wasn't even a jump scare at all in the manga. Like, it was like a corner of a panel of her noticing of her having the little bunny or whatever. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see what they can do to kind of keep the same shocking feeling and unsettledness without being just a panel by panel kind of adaptation.
Yeah, because they are, I do think like, I think it's always being somewhat concerning if it's like, are they sticking too much to the manga, or are they, you know, not sticking enough to it? But I feel like, at least based on these first two episodes, I feel like they have like a very good understanding of the series and what makes it work. So now I'm less nervous about like the studio handling it and more about Crunchyroll actually putting it online. Like, my nervousness has switched to like the episode actually being available. So that's kind of cool to switch focus on that. Nice to have like other things to be worried about and not as much. But it's some cool stuff. So I like the voice acting a lot in this. I think we get a really good sense of the dynamic of the characters.
Yeah.
I think like Maz mentioned this too. Like, I think it's kind of tough to say, because I'm not sure how much of this is just like, I know this from, you know, experience and obsessing over this, but I think they did a good job of breaking down the like the different strengths and weaknesses of Emma, Norman, and Ray almost immediately, because what we always get told in the manga that like Emma is really good at physical activities, Norman is really like is just a brilliant person in general. Like, he might just have,
he's got like his thoughts are, no, that sounds dumb. It's like his intelligence comes from within, while Ray is like always reading and kind of acquiring his knowledge. Whereas with Norman,
I feel like with Norman, it's like he has the most knowledge, but Ray is the best at strategizing. So like Norman might know more than Ray, but Ray could beat him at chess, if that makes sense.
I think it's kind of the opposite, but I might be misremembering.
Well, they explained it like really vaguely. They're like, Ray is the best
Like one's a strategist and one's a tactician, and it's like, what's the difference?
Yeah, it feels very Katana Gatari, but it still does not tell me what this means. So it's like, I think they all have different strengths, but at least for the sake of like Norman and Emma, I think they did a good job of showing like Norman tries to climb the tree and falls, and then Emma's easily able to climb the tree. Yeah. So it's kind of like a cool way of like actually showing us like, no, we're not just kidding about like Emma being this, like having the most athletic ability. So it was cool to actually see that, because we've gotten like small instances of that, even though they have like Norman doing like a casual front flip in the opening. Like that's really badass and all. Like,
but that's like kind of artistic liberty.
Yeah. So that's a bit different. But no, Faye, I don't have questionable images of Emma. No, I don't. I don't even know where this meme came from. Faye is like slandering me in
Emma
chat.
She has the questionable images of.
I don't have any. I don't have any questionable images because there's no fan art. Not that I would. I will protect my children at all costs. No one shall slay them anyway. Okay. But
I feel very in the dark about whatever this is.
Well, no, Fate's in the chat slandering me. He's trying to paint me out as a suspect individual, which is sus in and of itself. No, you're the one. No,
he's not entirely wrong.
Protect my child. No, okay, this is a bad meme. This is really bad. But every time I think of like this series with just the kids, I think of like the Alex Jones clip of him saying like "destroy the child" and like that really deep, creepy voice. And I like always want to do like an edit with that with the Promised Neverland, but it's really sus because Alex Jones, and I don't think it's coming across as like I should protect the kids if I'm saying destroy the child. But anyway, so Maz, what do you think is going to happen? Yes, Urban, destroy the child.
What do I think is going to happen?
Well, what do you think, like, this coming in, like, because you're the one who's, like, you're not as deep as I am, so, like, what are your, like, somewhat predictions of what's going to happen?
Right, that's, I think, when I left off in the manga, I'm not actually sure what was happening, because they hadn't begun leaving the farm yet, they were still just strategizing. Obviously, that's going to happen at some point, but there's going to be... I don't know when exactly it will happen or if they can even succeed. Because that's what's really great about this series is that it constantly builds tension and it gives new obstacles for the characters to tackle and all.
Yeah. Also, don't try and spoil the manga while trying to guess where you're at.
I know.
It's that makes it tough.
This is tough. Like I was looking at the Reddit thread for discussion, and I saw a lot of interesting stuff, and I was like, "Ooh, that's very interesting. Very interesting indeed."
Yeah, it's kind of tough to predict because, like, as you can tell with this one, like they're trying to plan how do we leave the farm, but then it's like, okay, what does that entail? So I mean, like as of now, they have Ray on board, but
they just got a wrench thrown in there.
Yeah. So that's an interesting one. I think people have like heard her name, so they introduced her at the end. It's Sister Krone.
When they said Krone, I was like, wait, that's how they say it. I've always been in my head. It's always been Sister Crone. So I'm gonna have to
say Sister Crone. I always thought it was Sister Crone too.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna like be like. It's gonna be a little weird, but I'll deal.
Good thing I never tried saying it in the first place, and now I'm just like, cool. Now I know how to say it.
Haha, totally new.
Haha, called it like I called it from the start. Haha. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. I'm not gonna reveal too much. I don't want to reveal anything. We're not here to reveal, but this episode did actually move the manga events around a bit. So. Yeah, so without spoiling like what was covered, what hasn't been covered, what will be covered, they move things around in a way that I'm kind of excited for because a lot of the concerns that have been for this adaptation is kind of like we have like 30 chapters to cover in 12 episodes, and the first episode was all of episode 1, which should have happened. Like that's what we wanted.
Yeah.
But we're like, okay, what are we doing with these chapters when they're not all action packed. It's a lot of like very important details, like planning, strategizing, almost very text heavy. So there's like a lot that like they need to include. Like there's not that much they can not include.
There's a lot of information that needs to be conveyed throughout the series. And the reason why I stopped reading after a couple of volumes, even though why are there two of us?
Because I missed it. Because my computer's dumb.
Fucking Smurf. Anyway, so
sorry.
After I put the manga on hold after the first 2 volumes because I felt that it moved rather slowly with the fact that like every time there'd be a new piece of information, they would then have to recontextualize the entire situation that they're in.
Yeah.
And I felt that it kind of really put it made for some really, really slow pacing that was not the best for me. But watching this anime so far, like this has been fantastic. So far, I think they've totally gotten rid of this problem. If it's because they're moving stuff around, I wouldn't notice. But they've been, these 2 episodes so far, pacing has been totally fine.
But if you want to like go and read the manga, I won't go into details because that might give like hints or whatever at what like is whatever specifics. But if you want to read the manga, let one of us know so we can kind of tell you where you need to start.
Oh.
If you don't want to start from like chapter 1, which like you may as well, honestly. But like if you just want to like jump into like where the anime left off, that's kind of complicated.
Yeah.
Right
so
now.
So I guess we just have to peer pressure to the people to keep watching the anime. Since we have no other option.
Or just start from chapter 1.
I start from chapter 1
because there's some really good art, like with the demon reveal. It's like a full 2-page spread.
It's amazing. That reveal is
it was
excellent.
so cool, and the anime reveal of the demons was really good, but it wasn't like quite the same.
Well, I wonder because I think that like we're kind of like we know what's gonna happen, so I feel like we're kind of like the shock has already like hit us. But like I'm trying to gather from the people who are watching the anime, like, are they getting the same impacts we were? And I think a lot of people are still feeling very impacted by everything, you know? Like I see a lot of people saying like, oh, like that thing with Mama where she like sees her in the hallway, that scared the shit out of me, you know? And that's the same reaction I had with the manga, even if it seems like when I watched it this time, it wasn't as impactful, but I'm not sure how much of that is just like, well, I knew it would happen, so it wasn't as scary.
Well, even when I reread it, it's still pretty impactful because I think the way manga works is you turn the next page and it's like all of a sudden there.
Yeah.
So I think it's that too.
I think
different mediums.
I think they could have replicated that maybe just a little bit better. I think what I would have done, and it would have been like the tiniest change, but I would have just removed the shot of Mama's back. So it's Norman turning the. So it's Norman turning the corner, and then an instant hard cut to Mama standing right over Emma. Is probably how I would have done it. But they did a little Norman reaction, and then a shot of Mama's back first, and then it did and it's like it's still great, and especially the music cue they used really helps out.
Yeah, but, the music was. I'm trying to decide if I should say nut or poggers or whatever.
Poggers and the nut, yeah.
Well, because I think it was the same. It was the same music cue from when it cut to her with the bunny, right?
No, I think it was different.
I think it was a bit different.
But speaking of OST tracks, no, that's the same. Double word twice, but like the one with Norman and Ray. Oh, that was so good music.
That was like really hype. That was like a weirdly like I felt like they weren't, you know, like it wasn't like a battle theme, but they were like weirdly motivating and hype, and it was really cool because you really felt that emotion of like
it was intense. It was like
we're gonna break out of this shit. Yeah, we're gonna break out of the farm, and then they did a great job of like, oh no, it's ending soon. We got a new sister and a new adult. This is ruining our spirits. But like I was really feeling it in that moment, like. It was
like intense. I was like, damn, Norman's intense.
So like everyone always thinks that like Ray is my immediate favorite. I think even you thought that, Smurf, but because his voice
because I knew he was Maria Issei, and I started reading it and it's like, oh, he's kinda like the almost edgy loner who's basically like, Killua. This is definitely Shaw's favorite.
Well, yeah. I'm always torn. You know, I was talking with Nazreen because he read it too, and I'm like, yo, who was your 3? and I'm still kind of torn between Norman and Ray, but like I love Norman so much for being like this cool mix between Emma and Ray. Like he has that emotional cognizance that Emma has, but he also has that strategizing that Ray has and that intellect. And I think the combination of the two makes it really interesting because you never really know like who is he going to side with or who he's going to try and execute their idea of like, success.
Right. So, I really liked, I thought this episode, I saw some people complaining with not really I say complaining, it always sounds so negative, but I guess like criticizing it.
Commenting
on. Talking about the first episode and saying how they didn't really like any of the characters because they hadn't really shown off their personalities yet. Like Emma was just like, it's the girl and Norman's the guy. Like they hadn't really shown anything yet. Yeah. But in this one, I feel like it does a good job of showing like, Emma will do literally anything for her family. Ray is totally about himself. It's like, we're going to do this and we're going to live. And then Norman is like directly in the middle. Like, I'll do whatever it takes to do whatever I think is best.
Yeah, he's like determined. Like he knows the reality of the situation. He knows it. Yeah. And he's not ignoring it, kind of like Emma seems to want to.
Yeah.
But he's still just as determined.
What I noticed throughout the episode was, like, as you guys said, they all kind of have the same goal, but different motives for trying to achieve that goal. And I think it's interesting throughout the episode to kind of see what gives them strength. Like, I noticed a lot of times whenever Emma looked distressed, that's when Norman would step up because he's always looking out for her. And then whenever Emma would think about like the other kids, she would step up, like she noticed Norman falling from the tree. That's when she felt like she had the strength to kind of step up and, execute. And with Ray, we know that he wants them to survive and we know he's willing to sacrifice everyone else, but we're not really sure like what his true motives would be because we haven't really seen him in action. Like we know what he thinks about stuff, but we don't really know what his true motives behind his actions will be. So I think it'll be interesting because they're all on the same team and they're all working towards the same goal, but we know that they're not going to agree on everything and they might not actually carry out the same actions. So it's kind of cool to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it's really I think the beginning of this manga is really good because you're never sure what's exactly is going to happen next, which I really like.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of twists going on there's always twists though. Always twists.
Right.
This is a manga full of twists and turns. Yeah. I don't know. That sounds cooler.
Well, it's a big reason why it's compared to Death Note a lot.
Yeah.
I think. Because that one's also like that's what Death Note's known for. It's like it always has a twist coming up or something that you don't really expect. And I feel like Neverland does a good job of kind of mimicking that a bit, but also being its own thing. Like I wouldn't call it like a ripoff of Death Note by any means.
No.
I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I think it's not as evident right now, but I think it will be later on that I think The Promised Neverland does a good job of balancing out very like, shonen staples, Weekly Shonen Jump staples, while also kind of being aware that we know about the Shonen Jump staples and they kind of play around with our expectations of things. I don't think it's evident right now, but I'll probably follow up on that later on how I think they play around with tropes while also relying on them in a bit. Because you can tell that like Emma is like the Shonen Jump protagonist, but as a girl, like I will save my friends no matter what.
Determination is my magic.
Yeah. So I think.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go. No, finish your thought. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I mean, you're me. So.
I am literally you because I'm dumb. Someone in the chat was wondering when episode 2 ended. Yeah. And I actually don't remember, but I think it ends. I think it adapts chapter 3, but I can't remember exactly. I would say to go into our anime discussion threads when there probably says.
I would tell them to start reading at episode 2 because.
Or chapter 2.
Yeah, chapter 2 because they jumped around a bit, and they left out some important things of chapter 3, and I think they're going to cover it in the next episode.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's not that clear cut. So if you want to read start reading at chapter 2 and stop whenever you want.
Well, never stop.
I was
catch up with it.
I was reading an interview, or I was reading parts of an interview with the author of the Well, I think I saw it on Twitter. I think maybe either you or Jack retweeted or something. And I was reading some like thing about the backstory of like the authors, how they wanted, like they kind of were trying to make it not really a Shonen Jump manga. They're like, oh, we're gonna have like these deaths show up and blah blah blah, and then the editor's like, oh no, and hold on, you can't just do all sorts of crazy stuff because then it won't even be a Shonen Jump manga anymore. Like you have to do these specific things. It has to be Shonen Jump still, no matter what.
And now it's like one of the most popular. It's like competing with One Piece in chapter rankings, like
I don't know if
table of contents.
I mean table of contents. Nothing's competing with One Piece to be.
I know, but like it's like
yeah, I know what you mean.
The number one ranking, like the first manga you open when you open Shonen Jump, it's like One Piece or Neverland. It's like it's one of those two nearly always, unless there's like lead color page with something else.
We got to see that in the most recent, when any list comes out with the like, oh, what are the best-selling manga volumes? It came in at number 1. It beat out Black Clover, so we know who the true king of shonen is.
I was looking through that, and I thought it was interesting that volume 1 for Neverland had like
it was like on the list.
It was like 46 or something. Like it really that was just us for the week. So it's like episode 1 really got people to go out there and buy volume 1.
Yeah, volume 1 and then 2 was just below it, and then volume 3 was further below that.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, this is selling well. Season 2.
I would say it's basically guaranteed we're getting a season 2. I mean, I'd be really bummed if we didn't, but I feel like we're definitely gonna get a season 2.
We have to see how Japan does. They gotta show up and buy some stuff. Because we'll buy the stuff, but they gotta show up.
But if it's like selling well, maybe they'll like prioritize it some more instead of, I don't know, more Persona, whatever Cloverworks is doing.
I won't count my eggs before they hatch, which is a phrase, but I feel like I shouldn't use this in the context of like the kids being drawn as food. So, yeah, I
saw like a post on the I think it was on the Promised Neverland subreddit, or maybe it was on something else, but it was like someone was watching this on Hulu. They watched the first episode on Hulu, and then after the episode, Hulu was like, "Oh, we recommend you watch Bob's Burgers next." And like, it was the thumbnail was like a caution sign that said "Caution: Food may contain human" or something like that.
Oh my god,
that's pretty funny.
Oh
my god, that's perfect.
So funny.
Good job, Hulu.
That's pretty dank. Good job, Hulu. I'm just gonna watch it on Hulu. I don't care about the ads. I'll be fine. Yeah, I think it's been pretty cool. I think it's always tough for us to kind of make predictions since we know what happens. But how do you guys think this will stack up compared to the rest of the shows airing this season? Because we have a really big season this season.
Neverland's an instant classic. It's gonna be, I think not even this season, but this year. It's gonna be.
It's gonna be one of the best of the show of the year for sure. Yeah.
Instant classic. It's no question about it in my mind. It's going to be remembered. It's going to be loved. It's going to be recommended. It's going to be... Well, I don't really know where to go from there, but like it's just going to...
Do you guys think it'll be the next Death Note? In terms of like something you could recommend people?
Well, okay. It'll be the next Death Note if it's available on Netflix. Because one of the things about Death Note is that it's on Netflix. So like people who are new to anime are like, well, I heard they like, what anime is good? Like they Google it or whatever. Like, oh, they see Death Note. Like, okay, that's on Netflix. Yeah. So Promised Neverland to reach Death Note status needs to be on Netflix, in my opinion.
Well, it needs a Toonami run as well.
A Toonami, I think a Toonami run is, I would say it's inevitable.
Yeah.
Do you guys think... Did they have the dub voices yet? Have they announced a dub?
Not that. No, I would.
No, I don't even think they've announced
that news.
I don't even think they've announced a dub for it at all.
Yeah, I don't know if. Yeah,
but like, Funimation has it, and Funimation and Sentai both have it, so I'm sure one of them is going to dub it.
Good. Okay.
I'd be shocked.
I kind of hope it's not a simul dub, since it's not going to be a simul dub. I guess we would know by now, but I'm kind of glad that it's not because I feel like sometimes those feel more like kind of rushed and a little lower quality. Like some can be really good, but I feel like
think they might rush it too much because they're doing it
I think it's safer for the dub quality if they dub it not as it airs with the sub. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because, like, Sentai dubs, for instance, they're like dubs that they release all at once are pretty good, in my opinion. But then their simul dubs are awful.
I'm not super familiar with Sentai dubs. I think I've only heard one Sentai dub, and I watched the No Game No Life dub, and it was good. I liked it.
I heard,
but I don't really have much experience with them overall.
I heard of the Made in Abyss dub, and it made me kind of cringe. I always get nervous with dubs with kid voices, you know, because they're like make them sound like more annoying than I feel like they should be. I don't know. I always get nervous when they do kid voices, like that and moe voices. They just don't really they don't really get it. I don't know. Kind of tough to describe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's cool. I have high hopes for it. I feel like my Crunchyroll hatred aside, if they start helping like actually prioritize it, like if they start tweeting like King of Shonen, like Mahoyome tier like promotion, we might get like
oh, they won't. It's not Crunchyroll exclusive. What motive do they have to do that?
I don't know. Maybe just like I mean, people will go there and watch it. I don't know though. I have no hopes.
Yeah, their priority is Mob Psycho this season.
Yeah, their priority is stuff that
and Shield
is either
Hero?
like either stuff that they've actually produced or are really invested in. Like the Shield Hero manga is available on Crunchyroll. Sorry, I had to get that out.
I went to the Crunchyroll front page. We were talking about it the other day when we were talking about how Neverland isn't really shown on there. It's like not even. It's like nowhere on the front page of Crunchyroll. And I was clicking through. They have like that banner that you can like click through like all the different slides. I clicked through it, and there were 3 of those slides were for the Crunchyroll Awards.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's like, why are you giving your? I mean, I get it, it's your own award show, but like, you're giving it 3 spots on this slide. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I just wish that. I mean, I didn't mean to like fully trash Crunchyroll with this. I just kind of want them to promote it more. I don't know. I get too into it. Like I was like this with Steins Gate Zero, where I'm like, this is like a pretty big anime. Like a lot of people watch Steins Gate. A lot of people are gonna watch Steins Gate Zero, but like, if you want people to watch it on your website, you got to make it available. You know, like if I didn't care, I would just go and like illegally download it. You know, I would just like I wouldn't give a shit. It would be easier to find that way.
Okay, so I went to the Crunchyroll. Sorry, Miles, 1 sec. But I went to the Crunchyroll homepage and I was like clicking through the thing, like you said, and the very last one is Neverland. But then there's like 5 that all have to do with the like Crunchyroll awards. So it's there. It's just not always in the mix.
Yeah.
Just saying. Okay, continue. Sorry.
For what it's worth, I'm on the front page right now, and Neverland is the 3rd simulcast listed on the front. It's right below Mob Psycho and Shield
that's
Hero.
Cool. When I went there the other day, I was looking through. You know how they have like the like popular simulcast thing that just goes down. You have to click. You have to click like more to get all of them.
Yeah.
I went through that the other day, and it wasn't there at all.
Yeah, that's what I saw too.
It's very inconsistent, but
like I was looking through, I'm like, fan service is here. A podcast that got canceled in September is on the front page, and Neverland isn't.
Yeah, it's like,
what is happening?
I don't know. I hope if Crunchyroll is, I doubt Crunchyroll is listening to this episode, but if they are, please let us help you and just feature it on the front page more. Like, please just feature it. I want to support you. Let me help you help the industry. Give me my promised Neverland. That's all I want. That's all I want.
Also to fix the simulcast time, because even today it still said Wednesdays at 9 a.m.
So, yeah, this is a big deal. So yeah, I mean, I guess if everyone is listening by now, they know when it comes out. But just a heads up for everyone, since it was actually really confusing. You can watch The Promised Neverland on Thursdays at, I think it's about 12.
It's like 12:30 Eastern.
12:35 a.m. Wait, no, not a.m. I'm looking at
PM.
mine, which is Central. It's 11:35 a.m. Central Standard Time.
And I knew this.
Did they say that now?
Yes, I'm looking at the page.
And I know this thanks to High Dive, who were the first people to have the episode out. So shout out to High Dive, because they were killing it. They had the episode, watched it on High Dive. I became a High Dive customer because Crunchyroll did not have the episode on time. And I was at work and I'm like, I'm not doing this. I don't have time to keep blowing off work. I need to watch my episode. So I got High Dive and watched the episode. And it worked out well. So that was my day. But yeah, I think it's been pretty cool. I didn't really get to ask you, Smurf, since you're me and you came late, but what did you think of the episode overall?
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
It was the best episode of anime I've watched today. I'll tell you that much.
Is it the only episode, or is that just...
Nope. It's one of 3, actually. No, but it was really... I thought it was great. I thought they nailed a lot of important scenes for the episode, like the Emma and Norman checking out the wall. I thought they did like really well to just show like how impossible it would be for them to climb it. And
yeah, the wall looks scarier in the anime.
Yeah, it does. It like feels more like
it looks a little bit
giant scary wall.
I thought it looked a little bit thicker. Like when they got when Emma got up in the tree and was looking at it, I thought the manga felt a bit thinner. Like not by much. Like it's very, very, very slight difference, but it just seems like it's more of a little bit more of a like an impossible obstacle to me in the anime.
Yeah, when they said in this, like, yeah, if it's the 2 of us, we can climb the wall. I'm like, are you really able to climb the wall? Like, I don't know if I can climb
the wall. And then the thing that caught me was like when Emma got to the top, she's like, I'm at the top, I can tell. It's really tall. And it's like, I mean, yeah, you can see that from the floor.
Well, yeah,
like,
we know.
You can clearly see the top of the wall from the floor. You don't have to be in a tree to tell me that.
Yeah, exactly. They did a good job with that. So the wall is imposing. I don't want to make a Trump joke. There's so many wall references going on right now. But now we get to see the true power of a real life wall.
I also liked Ray just showing up and being just the most casual. Yo,
Ray is literally Killua. I'm just saying.
Yo. I like how the 3 in general are pretty casual. Where even in that climactic scene in episode 2, like it was dramatic, but at the same time there was a sense of like they're all just kind of talking it out like friends, and they're not being super serial about it.
They do feel like a friend group. Yeah, they feel like an authentic friend group. Like you can definitely tell. Like they shoot the shit about tons of stuff. Like they know
they're siblings. Though I'm sure Norman doesn't like that part.
Wait, okay. I was gonna ask Fate this because Fate speaks Japanese, even though he won't admit it. But like, he definitely just speaks Japanese. But so like,
what a weeb!
What a weeb!
God,
right?
What a weeb! No wonder he's not here.
You guys think I'm joking, but like, we were at a convention together, and it was when they had the Spice and Wolf author there, who was like, he would say something, and then the translator would go, but Fate would beat the translator and tell me what he said. So Fate speaks Japanese. I'm not even joking. But I was gonna ask him this. But so, like, Norman definitely said he likes her in the, like way, not just the normal, well, I like her kind of thing. Like, that definitely...
That's how I interpreted it in the manga, too.
That's what I always thought. But I've seen some translations that were like, oh, I care for her, or like, oh, you know, like, I've seen different translations. So I wanted to confirm that, like, Norman has feelings for her.
I think so.
I feel like even like just looking at the 2 episodes alone, it's like kind of obvious. Like I forget in the manga if that was ever done with or not. I forget a lot about the manga, to be honest. But like episode
manga,
1
that I read used the same translation as this episode, from what I remember.
But like I remember episode 1, you like would see him like looking at her and smiling, and it's like, oh,
it is really cute. But I want them to live. Let them live and be happy. We got a cool comment from Urban, one of my favorite YouTubers, in the chat. And he said, my favorite thing was how Norman was shaking while trying to come across strong, and how they both stopped freaking out when Emma took his hand.
Yeah, it's like they're like strong. They're like nervous apart, but then strong together. I felt like that was like some cool symbolism.
Yeah. And it was cool when, what were you saying, Moss?
I wasn't saying anything.
Why do you bait me like this?
I had the same thought running through my head during that scene in the anime that I did when I was reading the manga, which is, now is not the time to fall to your knees when Mama is at the top of the stairs.
I know, I was seeing that too. I'm like, wait,
what are you going to do if she walks down?
You?
Yeah.
What if she heard you? Like, what? She's really close. She could have heard you guys.
Yeah, especially if she was like, I feel like it's a little bit of a plot hole, but I'm just going to like tell myself that like they could tell that she like walked away or something. That's what I'm just gonna believe, because
I don't get too hung up on the whole like them falling to their knees as a plot hole. I just is kind of weird with like.
No, it's not like a plot hole. Like I always get that way. Like whenever I'm watching anything that's like tense like that, I'm always like, but what if that person just walks in right now? What are you doing?
Why aren't you like
safe.
whispering? Why aren't you like? Why are you speaking so in a clear way that we can hear what you're saying? Why aren't you just like literally whispering?
Yeah. I did like one thing. This was one thing I wanted to note that I kind of forgot, getting caught up in all the talk, was a lot of the translations have been like, there's a lot of internal thoughts in the manga where it's kind of like narrated from Emma that they've translated to more show not tell type of things in the episode. So like one of the things was Emma noticed in the manga that Norman's hand was shaking and that he pulled himself together for her, and she notes it to herself privately, but then in the episode we just see it happen firsthand, which is kind of cool.
Since the manga panels are still, it's like you don't really see his hand shaking. Emma tells us that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
and then at the beginning of in the manga, actually, I thought it was different how Emma actually like had her shit together in the manga, like in the beginning of this chapter, like she had her shit together. She was really good at pretending to be happy. And then they show the flashback where it's Norman telling her like, you got to act normal. Whereas in the episode, they show us how visibly shaken she is from her nightmare and the events from before. And I actually like that more because it makes more sense that Mama would come up to her and say, oh, you weren't as happy today, because we actually got to see her not be as happy. Whereas before she was like perfectly good at, covering it up. So it wouldn't make sense that Mama would be like, yo, why weren't you smiling when she was smiling? So I think little changes like that, I think will come a long way. But it is interesting because I have seen some people be like, oh, like they're not explicitly doing this, but they're also kind of showing, not telling. And everyone loves showing, not telling. As they always tell me.
It's like the internet's, it's our anime's favorite buzzword.
Yeah, like everyone loves showing, not telling during the Chimera Ant arc, that because it never happened. So now they get it. You get the showing, not telling.
I do have. I guess I haven't really thought about it, but has there really been much narration from the characters, like inner monologues in the anime yet, or has it basically all been outside?
No.
Okay, that's weird. Because not to be specific or anything, but the manga has a couple times where it does some cool things with narration, and I feel like it'd be a shame to lose that. Just like I get like you're transferring it to a more visual thing, so you don't need as much narration, but I feel like it'd be a bit of a shame to lose some of that.
I think we'll get some of that because there's a lot of interactions that are like all in the head, so they'll get to it eventually. But I think they're just kind of flexing their anime muscles, right now, being like, "Hey, we can do this. We can do this show not tell thing."
Because there are some things that they actively need to narrate. Like I don't think they can leave it out. And I'm thinking, and I think we'll come to that stuff either the next episode or the episode after.
Okay, I hope they get to it because some of my there's some cool things that they do with narration that I really appreciate. That I'd be disappointed if they got left out.
Yeah.
And if they do leave it out, then I get to be the manga guy and go, well, they did this in the manga, so blah 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 blah.
I feel bad that we're already there, but it's at least we're like in a complimentary way. Like they did this differently, but it still works out this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the good ones you want to hear. You don't want to hear people say, "Oh, this sucked," because they weren't standing exactly 5 feet apart in the anime. In the manga, they were 5 feet apart. In the anime, they were 4 feet apart. It's literally unwatchable.
Yeah. I'm excited though. I think people have started to like pick up notice on the show. I think more people are going to be watching it. It's the third most popular show of the season, according to Mal. So I hope it continues to gain popularity and
behind JoJo and Mob Psycho.
No, Mob Psycho and Shield Hero.
Oh,
are we not counting JoJo because it's seasonal, or did it?
Yeah, I wasn't counting because it didn't show up on the page.
I mean, sequel. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
No, I was not scrolling down doing like.
I guess more popular. I guess I can see it not being more popular. I was thinking ranking. I saw the ranking of the top 3 of the season, and it was JoJo, Mob Psycho, and Promised Neverland. And they were all the exact same score. They were all 8.81.
Oh yeah, they all had the same. Yeah, no, I was I'm just on the Mal page, and it's got the members listed. So I was doing a very bare bones claim by saying, most popular of the season.
Right. I definitely can see that. Yeah, those 3 for being most popular makes a lot of sense to me, I think.
I think Dororo and then Kaguya-sama are also like the big ones, but
I think Dororo is gonna. I don't think Dororo is gonna be very popular.
Fun fact: Neverland is the second most popular on Annie list, so it beats out Shield Hero. So we know the site with the real good taste, right?
Yeah, it's Mal. I mean, I don't.
Wow, Smurf.
I mean, I like Shield Hero, but I like Promised Neverland more. So
the betrayal. Oh well. that's a lot of stuff going on. It's cool that I hope more people continue to enjoy it. I hope our listeners are enjoying it. I don't have anything else to say. Did you guys have anything?
Nope.
I wasn't really sure what got discussed before I got here, so I don't really know. I don't want to try to repeat everything.
We just said it was good, but if now is the time to speak up or forever hold your peace.
I've listened to the OP and ED about 50 times each.
Nice.
Same.
They're amazing. I have the full ED on my Spotify. I listened to it like 4 times at work today. It's not very long. I'm actually really disappointed. It's like 2 minutes. It's the full version.
I thought it would be more jazzy.
It's good. But I'm just kind of disappointed that it went from a minute 30. I'm like, oh, I want to listen to the full version. Okay, it's like 2 minutes long. It's like that you've added basically nothing to it.
It's kind of funny.
You just repeated one section.
The OP for me has like a sophomore effect, where the first time I heard last week when I first heard it, I was like, okay, yeah, it's kind of cool. But then this episode came up, and I was like, yeah, fire! It's so cool.
Did they say fire or just saying fire? I forget.
I think the second one they say fire.
Fire. Okay.
I don't know, but whenever I hear that, I just think of Mortal Kombat.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. The OP was good. It's been growing on me. I'm still not a fan of the na whatever it is. And Uberworld still seems kind of like a weird fit, but it's growing on me. So probably by the end of the season, I'll be like, this is the best OP ever at this rate.
Well, I mean, we still have that new JoJo OP, so that'll be the real best OP ever. Let's be real.
Might actually be. I might have to betray for that one. No, I'm liking it too. It's pretty cool and catchy. I do think the na-na-na-nas grow on me every time. I think I'm saying it wrong though. I'm getting the nanas wrong, which is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, no. Sing it, Maz. That's you. This is your time.
It's na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
I'm going to listen to it at least 10 more times to study up after we finish this episode.
Something like that. That's a different show. I don't know what show that is, but I know I've heard it somewhere.
Neverland.
That's just Batman now.
That's the theme song now. That's our theme song for this podcast.
Yes. I mean, I gotta get you guys record that in stereo, and then that'll be what we play at the beginning of all this, instead of the Alex Jones Destroy the Child. But I do want a soundbite of that. But I don't think I'm cool enough to get a soundbite where I can
When are we gonna get Alex Jones on the podcast?
When we want to get demonetized, that's when. How to get kicked off YouTube when you only have 3,000 subs. Thank you for everyone for 3,000 subs, though. I mean,
it doesn't seem very hard to get kicked off YouTube these days.
It does not. It just kicked off Drake Bell because apparently one of his fans hacked his account, and they believed the hacker and not him. So that goes. You're on the wrong side of Drake and Josh when they believe your hacker over you.
Why the fuck would you hack Drake Bell?
Oh, 17 said he'd make the soundbite, so I guess I'll record that.
Because Drake Bell's awesome.
Okay, Drake and Josh best opening of Nickelodeon. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. No one.
I don't remember any Nickelodeon openings except SpongeBob.
I mean, Fairly Odd Parents is pretty great, and Jimmy Neutron is pretty good.
I like them, but
don't forget Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom is pretty amazing.
I never watched Danny Phantom.
I don't remember the Jimmy Neutron OP.
We're gonna. That's your homework for next week. Is everyone watch these openings, and then we'll follow up on episode 3 of The Promise Neverweekly, where we just.
So I changed my mind. It's actually the Invader Zim opening is really the best Nick opening. That's what I'll say next week. I don't know. I gotta recheck. It might be. Oh, As Told by Ginger happened too. This is a tough one. I hated As Told by Ginger.
We're canceling the podcast now. It's all over.
This is a Nickelodeon podcast.
Nickelodeon podcast. Get hyped.
The Promised Naked Night. Yeah. Well,
sorry, this is really funny. Came out of nowhere.
That's when we debate like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Full House and Roseanne, right?
Yeah, I do like. Well, Fresh Prince already dominating, but that's a debate for another day. Do you guys have anything else before we sign off?
I was not really a Nickelodeon kid myself. I watched Cartoon Network.
I like Cartoon Network too.
Cartoon Network had better opening songs though, just in general.
This is like we can do an actual debate: Cartoon Network versus Nickelodeon.
I'm down.
I remember.
This is actually pretty interesting. We can make a list of this. This will be fun. But
the R Anime cartoon cast.
The non-Chinese cartoon cast. Well, thank you to everyone who listened to our stream. Thank you to everyone who subscribed to the channel. We have 3,000 subs now, which is a really cool milestone. We're not going to do another special like the other two, but we have other plans coming up that involved a bet, and it involved a bunch of us losing a bet and someone winning the bet and picking a punishment. So that'll be revealed later.
That sounds fun.
God, yeah, I forgot that happened.
It sounds more fun. I think it sounds more fun than it is because we're not going to be like sliming each other and throwing pie on each other's faces, but it'll be applicable to the podcast. Thank you to everyone who is listening in now. If you guys want more of these types of episodes, leave a comment, like the video, let us know, like, hey guys, I like this shit. Since it's the Promise Neverweekly, we have no promises about doing a weekly series, but we might try and keep it up. So if you're interested, you can express interest. If not, we will see you in the Discord, which will be linked in the description below. And tweet at us on Twitter. We're Tokyo Podfathers on Twitter. So that will also be below. And yeah, have a good day.
And hopefully next time I log in with the right account.
Yeah.
Toot toot.
No.